Mike Johnson is deeply disappointed the Senate didn't weaken a bill designed to expose child sex traffickers and their powerful besties. But this is, again, the same man who monitored his own teenagers' online activity with a corn tracking app. Let's talk about why that matters. And before we go any further, please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss these types of breakdowns.
Any reaction to Leader Thune seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see.
Okay. So, a little refresher. The legislation in question is the Epstein Files Transparency Act, H.R. 4405, which would require the Department of Justice to release records related to Jeffrey Epstein's investigation and prosecution. The bill passed the House overwhelmingly, 427-1. Creepy Clay, and it passed on November 18th. So as to be expected, when MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, says he's deeply disappointed in the passage of the bill related to the release of the Jeffrey Epstein-related files, people are like, huh? What the fuck? And his excuse is he claims the bill does not sufficiently protect the identities of victims, minors, or people who may be innocent but named in the documents. But there are laws and policies that protect minors and whistleblowers in the context of federal investigations. So when he cries that releasing large volumes of unvetted documents could have a chilling effect on future investigations, such as deterring whistleblowers or informants who fear their identities might be exposed, none of that really matters. And none of us really buy it because this is the same Mike Johnson who publicly said he supports maximum disclosure in principle. More specifically, earlier in this Epstein files releasing journey, he said he wanted full transparency in the Epstein case. He said this there's a direct quote in the New York Post, but then he literally delayed votes, objected to how the legislation was drafted, and is now pouting around all disappointed after the fact, saying, sorry, I was at dinner with Elon Musk and the Saudi crown prince trying to learn more about power consolidation and the suppression of dissent. We know the real truth here. He's upset that the Senate proceeded without incorporating the amendments he hoped for. The amendments he hoped would protect his little pedophile buddies and his boss. So to be clear, once more, victims want answers. The House voted 427-1. There's also public trust involved. This case involves issues of abuses of power, privilege, secrecy, and institutional failure. So when executive leadership or legislative branches appear to obstruct transparency, it deepens cynicism. And again, many of Epstein's survivors feel they have been waiting decades for answers because they have, and the delays or incomplete disclosures prolong their trauma. So if the Speaker, Mike Johnson, appears to be blocking or undermining that process, public trust gets fractured. And if you have any doubts about that, just look at the comment section on my Instagram in my latest video. But relevant detail here. While Mike Johnson has objected to the release of the Epstein files and is continuing to frame it as a step too far in transparency when it involves protecting powerful people, it's worth remembering that this is the same Mike Johnson who also very publicly described using a Covenant Eyes app, a program that monitors corn use and sends weekly reports to an accountability partner. In this case, at this time, it was his 17-year-old son.
Why do parents need to put this into their home?
So Covenant Eyes is the software that we've been using a long time in our household. I first learned about it at I think a Promise Keepers event in the early 2000s. I think it was developed in about the year 2000. But it's the largest accountability software that there is. I mean, we don't make any money on this. I'm telling you, we use it. Okay, I'm endorsing it because I'm a user. It's about $15 a month, $16 a month, something like that. And you get up to 10 devices. And what it is, it's accountability software. So men in a church, men's Bible study groups will do it. That's how it's presented at Promise Keepers. But they also mention, hey, when your kids become teenagers, especially if you have boys, dads, they're talking to the guys at this event, you might want to think about doing this with your sons. It scans, you obviously opt into it, but it scans all the activity on your phone or your devices, your laptop, tablet, what have you. We do all of it. And then it sends a report to your accountability partner. So my accountability partner right now is Jack, my son, right? And so he's 17. So he and I get a report of all the things that are on our phones or all of our devices once a week. If anything objectionable comes up, your accountability partner gets an immediate notice. I'm proud to tell you my son he's got a clean slate, all right? Yeah. But we get a report and it says, hey, no activity of concern, and it's really sensitive. It'll pick up almost anything. It looks for keywords, search terms, and also images, and it will send your accountability partner a blurred picture of the image. And
Call me crazy, but adolescents today will encounter sexual content online sooner or later. Adult content is literally everywhere, and having a father and a teenage son monitor each other's potential porn consumption is highly unusual. Most people view sexual exploration and privacy as normal parts of adolescence, and mutual surveillance between a parent and child crosses very typical boundaries. And he's not just saying this is a choice for our family, but he's presenting this as an arrangement, as a model for others, suggesting this ideological framework in which, let's just assume, safe exploration of sexuality must be constantly monitored, must be constantly regulated and reported through a system of mutual surveillance with your dad, rather than maintaining trust, education, like what about porn is healthy, what is consent, what is sexuality, what is boundaries, or any sort of conversation around personal development to help a young person navigate exposure to this type of content. Mike Johnson went on publicly on a whole ass stage to broadcast that he's using this app and he's serving as a digital chaperone to scrutinize every action via a report on porn consumption. Young people need guidance about their digital footprint. Young people need guidance about consuming this type of content and how to navigate parts of their life that they share online, how to interact with sensitive content and how to interact with others online, and when boundaries are appropriate. So heavy monitoring may undercut that learning. Like I said earlier this week, adult content consumption isn't a moral failure, and it's not a character flaw. People of all ages encounter sexual content for all kinds of reasons: curiosity, exploration, stress relief, confusion, boredom. That doesn't make them damaged or immoral. But porn does come with real risks: distorted ideas about sex, unrealistic expectation, body image pressure, exploitive production, and potential for compulsive use. Those are genuine issues, and that's exactly why education over shame or over surveillance is essential. When we talk openly about what porn is and what porn isn't, and how it differs from real intimacy and how to engage with it safely and ethically, we give young people the tools to navigate it with maturity rather than fear or secrecy. And not to go on a whole puberty rant, but I can't help but see a parallel here to a disturbing article I read in Vox this summer called "Parents Can't Control When Their Daughters Start Getting Their Periods, ... Can they?" And I can't help but see the parallel here on trying to control the development of an adolescent instead of preparing them for this chapter of their life. The Vox piece referenced describes parents who are so frightened by early puberty in girls that they're looking for ways to delay biological development through diet tweaks, chemical avoidance, supplements, or strict lifestyle control. Behind this is the same emotional pattern that shows up in the use of porn monitoring surveillance software on teens. Something inevitable is coming. They're scared of what it means, and they believe that if they can control every variable, that they can stop it. In both cases, normal development milestones, puberty, and sexual curiosity are treated like emergencies, and parents respond not with preparation or conversation or even education, but with attempts to halt what is fundamentally a part of growing up. The focus shifts from empowering the child to controlling them. Instead of teaching girls about periods, reproductive health, boundaries, consent, and bodily autonomy, or teaching other teens about sexuality, consent, and emotional regulation, or media literacy, parents try to fix the environment to prevent this development. The message becomes, I'm not preparing you for adulthood, I'm trying to freeze you in childhood. Both strategies rely on external tools, supplements, toxin lists, environmental strictness, apps, screenshots, surveillance feeds, algorithmic alerts to manage internal developmental processes based on the belief that there is a perfectly controlled environment that can replace hard conversations. They also reflect adult discomfort that gets projected onto the child. Parents overwhelmed by sex, independence, or their own unresolved feelings resort to control as a way to avoid addressing their discomfort. This creates shame. This teaches girls that their bodies are problems, and boys that their curiosity is bad, which discourages communication, it breeds secrecy, and distorts body image and intimacy. Ultimately, both approaches fail. Puberty arrives regardless of your parents' effort and regardless of your exposure to sexual content. That's going to happen inevitably, regardless of surveillance, leaving children unprepared, less informed, and more vulnerable because energy was spent on resistance instead of education. The healthier path is preparation, not prevention. Education, body literacy, emotional support, openness. These types of things normalize puberty, and honest conversations about porn, consent, boundaries, and media literacy and the reality of them versus performance for sexual development, shifting from I must stop this to I will help you to understand all of this, is where we need to go. And to wrap this all up, Mike Johnson's opposition to releasing the Epstein files shows a willingness to shield powerful predators from public scrutiny. His choice is to monitor his teenage son's porn consumption with invasive surveillance software shows a willingness to exert control over a normal development instead of offering guidance and education. And when you line that up with a broader pattern of parents trying to delay puberty, leaders trying to regulate sexual curiosity, politicians trying to push shame over education, you see the same instinct running through all of it. Protection for the powerful, surveillance for everyone else, secrecy for the elites, intrusion for kids. That's the worldwide view shaping politics. And it's one we should be paying very close attention to. So if you think more people need to understand what's really going on here, share this video. Make sure you're subscribed. I cannot grow without you. And honestly, your support is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to push back and counter the misinformation machine on the right. Boom.
Savage girl strutting like a queen, you know she the boss.